Overthinking. We've all done it at some point, whether it's before a certain presentation, whether it's before we're about to play in some sort of sporting event. We think of the good, we think of the bad, but it never gets us anywhere. All it gets us is more anxious and more nervous. And then that downgrades our performance in the end in whatever thing we are trying to do. And so recently, I got a question from a subscriber in the comments of a video asking about how I personally have solved my overthinking, because I briefly mentioned it in one of my videos of how, I've gotten a lot better with it, and it's actually a lesson that I learned from AAU basketball. So taking a couple steps back, last season of AAU, I realized that all the time when I'd be thinking in the car on the way to the game, I realized that no matter if I was thinking all these positive thoughts or all of these negative thoughts of how I would perform, it would always negatively impact my performance in game. But the moment that I stopped thinking of it entirely, I was having more points a game, more assists, my teammates were getting involved, and we would win more games. So I kind of saw this correlation with I just have to drop everything. Because normally what I would do, and what I see a lot of other athletes do, and what I see basically everyone try and do, is we all want to get ourselves hyped up before whatever we have to do. We've all been there where we're trying to play some music, we're trying to, give all these thoughts in our head of I'm going to be doing this and that. But really, all that's doing is putting more pressure on your mind, and it's making you think of a false reality of what's actually going to happen. There's never going to be a single scenario in your head that actually plays into reality in your presentation or in that game that you're playing in. It's never gonna happen. Because me personally, what I would imagine is I'd go right from the tip off and just drop 30 points in the first quarter or the first half or something crazy like that. But once that doesn't happen, your whole plan that you were just imagining in the car ride there, it's all out the door. So then you get shocked, you get frozen up, and you don't know how to act. You're relying on your thoughts, and you're not relying on your actual skill. The thing I want you to keep in mind is that you've practiced this for a while, whatever this is, right? If it's some sort of sport and you're playing at a high level, chances are you practice a good amount. So there's no reason to overthink. Overthinking will never beat the practice that you did to get to that point that you are in. The practice is all you have to rely on, because by the time that game comes, by the time the tip-off happens, by the time the whistle is blown, you're already ready because you've done that thing in practice thousands of times before. Thinking about doing this and that and breaking this guy's ankles and dunking on this guy, it's doing nothing because your thoughts aren't going to play into reality. The best games that I had a slow start. And I don't mean that I was doing bad. I'm not going to say I was doing bad, but I wasn't really shooting. A quick story I got with when I really saw this play into, my game was when I was playing in Atlantic City. I got the highlight film actually that I can put in a card above of that tournament. But what happened is in the beginning of the games, I wasn't even really doing that much. I wasn't shooting, I wasn't doing nothing crazy. But since I could rely on my skill, once I started shooting, once I started getting involved, I was just going explosive. I was scoring so much. We were doing good in the games. Every single good thing that could happen, it was happening. But my thought process wasn't lining up with what I was actually doing in game, because in my mind, I was imagining dropping 50 in the first half, right? But in reality, I had 10 or 15 in the first half, and then I'd have another 10 or 15 in the second, right? That's something that's more realistic, but you shouldn't even think of anything at all. And that's the point that I'm trying to make is don't try and hype yourself up. Don't try and think of every single good thing or every single bad thing. If you think of every single good thing and that doesn't happen right out the gate when the game starts or when the presentation starts, then again, you're going to be all frozen up. You're not going to know what to do. And you're going to be humbled by the experience because you were thinking that you were all this, but the moment that the time came, you weren't able to deliver. Now, on the other end, if you think of everything bad, that's going to just make you more nervous leading into game time or into that presentation. So Nervousness is going to correlate with you playing worse or speaking worse, things like that. So you don't want either of these. You don't want to overthink from a negative aspect or a positive one. The thing you got to do is just let it completely go. Don't try and hype yourself up in the car. Don't try and hype yourself up right before that presentation. Just be living. Like pretend that there is no event that's about to happen. That's the thing that I've been doing recently. There is nothing. In the car, rather than putting my music in and listening to all these hype songs, shoot, I'll take a nap right before the game. And it's alright because I'm not thinking, oh shoot, I got this game that I gotta worry about. Because there is no point in worrying about it. It's not going to affect my game in a good way at all. Overthinking doesn't affect actual reality itself. You're just living in a fake reality, a reality that you want to happen or that you don't want to happen. But again, you have to fall on your actual skill when the real time comes. You can't be relying on what you think is going to happen. You need to be relying on the practice that you've done thousands and thousands of times. Now, if you aren't confident in the actual practice that you've done, then you got a different issue to worry about, right? Your issue isn't the overthinking. Your issue is just a matter with you shouldn't even be there playing or presenting at all because you yourself aren't even experienced enough. Right? So that tells another story with you gotta just work harder. But for those who are watching who know that they have that skill or know that they have that potential, this is for you. You just gotta not let anything into your mind. Just live out whatever you're doing right before this moment comes. Do whatever you're doing and don't overthink whatsoever. I know it sounds like some kind of counterintuitive thing like, oh, stopping overthinking by not thinking at all. Right? It may seem easier said than done, but just with your actions, you can illustrate to your body that whatever thing you're overthinking about, it's not worth thinking about at all. And it is much easier to not think about it once you repeat that with your body language and what you're actually doing. So if you're taking a nap, that's going to tell your body, oh, okay, I'm in a state of being calm and being chill. So you're not going to be nervous as a result. I have some additional resources such as this video up here with overall confidence, and I'm also going to be making some more videos on overthinking and how I've overcame it with different strategies and different tips. So subscribe and turn on notifications to stay tuned for when that comes out. With all that being said, I'll see you over there. I'm out. Be well. Peace.